like either this is all to just completely drive. I've got that scanning thing going again now. Seriously, I'm on my laptop and I don't usually go on my laptop, and it is doing all sorts of things this side, and I can't video it on my phone because on my phone it is just seriously technology, seriously. This is absolutely driving me nuts. I filmed it for you before on my camera and I caught it where it was doing that, like it's taking photographs. So anyway, this new live platform that exists on laptop does my absolute tree in, and I'm probably going to flicker all over the place. I am coming to the conclusion now that people just don't like what I've got to say, and I think the proof's in the pudding. I think over the next week, people like me, that many of you have given a hard time, and a hard time for a long time. I've gone past ever wanting apologies off of my immediate family and friends since I sort of, in their minds, sort of went crazy, I suppose. And in their minds, I don't know, I went from being really happy to going to the Olympics in 2012 to all of a sudden, my family started calling me a conspiracy nutball, I think, and that I was going crazy over, because what you've got to remember is when I went out in the media in 2010, I had great opportunities, and I was severely, really blessed by people who gave me opportunities as a single mother with EDS who had a great brain, and they knew people were prodding and poking around to find out what was going on with me, but they love the concept and the idea of Challenge Britain. I've got goodness knows how many business cards of people that I've met along the way, many thousands and thousands and thousands of conversations that I had along the way from when I first, in 2007, went to London. And I talk about it a few times when, I can't remember if it was, no, because I wouldn't have had Aaron and Faith. Liam and Daniel were older and I'd gone on my own. I was with my friend Nora and Max as well. So if I had Max, then it probably would have been 2007. It was the year of the eclipse anyway, and I stood in Covent Garden and I was looking up at the eclipse moon thinking, what if these people pull this off? Like, what if they really do this? And like, there's me being all like, as my mum calls me, Little Red Riding Hood, skiffing along in the forest with the wolf of Wall Street of all things. And I'd not long come out of escorting at the time as well. So I'd graduated from university. I was a single mother of 2 kids. I was not long out of escorting, and I was sort of flying in the therapeutic technique style world, and I was helping a lot of people in, say, prostitution, street drugs, heroin, crack, smack. Never a path I took, by the way. It's never ever been a path of mine, but it was a path that became very personal to me, obviously, when I met Stephen, Aaron and Faith's dad, and I got to know the clinics very well and how the state was helping people. And I was involved with people who were running, there's a program, you probably heard of it, it's called Intervention. And basically it's where somebody has got severe issues going on in their lives and their family basically call an intervention. And if it annoys you me looking up here, it's because if I see this computer screen flick at me one more time, I'm going to smash it. Seriously, whatever the fuck is going on, I suggest it stops. And basically, just to cut a long story short, and I've got it. This is all coming together. And my house at the moment, seriously, my two little boys have. Seriously, do you want to see something? A minute. Look, this is two little boys that have managed to pull my curtain rail down, unstuff a pillow, turn tables upside down, and fall asleep on the sofa. And they're still in here at the moment. The bedroom is actually free for them to go in, and they're just too cozed up at the moment. I just haven't carried them through, and I will do. But look at this, like seriously, like seriously. So I've got a curtain pole to put back up. The chair is just a flip over, and the rest of it is just a hoover up, really. And actually, there's not much else there, really. But anyone ever think that maybe this was the queen of our country? Maybe. Um, and I don't know when I was basically stood having a fag in London with a bunch of people that were basically the investors in the people that were the speakers. So basically, every MP, every artist, every business, every idea that any person has basically takes a team of investment to make that happen. So everything that's happening at the moment is actually quite funny for someone like me. I'm sitting down laughing. Does anybody remember? Now, someone like me, I shouldn't really get into things like Harry Potter because obviously, that's part of the great big fight at the end of the day, isn't it? But does anyone remember Quidditch? And they were basically whizzing around on their broomsticks. So basically, what's going to be happening in May is basically something like that. So if you remember the scene in like Fast and Furiouses and things like that, where they basically take to the roads and they get the roads shut down so they can speedway through the road. Basically, the big boys want to basically race their rockets, and they're on a mission to race to Mars, basically. So, as far as I know, there's about 7 of them at the moment. I know Richard Branson's obviously got one because that's how I know all of the information in the first place, because I was obviously part of the crew team for Richard Branson as well, and got very heavily involved. In fact, I took my kids when Sam Branson was in some program, and we actually went and watched it all being filmed live. So obviously, I got very well mentored. You don't get direct and personal. It's a whole massive team that's around them. It's a very different world. I'll explain it one day properly. Like workshops, seminars, events, conferences, blah 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 blah. So anyway, this philosophy of anchors and motors. And what you got to remember is these big boys, as they're flying around testing out their motors and their machines, they need this G5 in place properly. It doesn't work without it. Hence why you keep seeing that it's been delayed. So all the satellites are meant to be properly lined up. So basically, Eon. So I've got to try and remember their names. I must sit down and write their names down properly and mind map who exactly it is, because I've got this ultimate picture for my son's birthday in line, but they've now tried to move it forward to the 22nd now. And it's getting really difficult because when people aren't meant to know what you're doing and you're meant to be getting on and you're in the middle of a game with people. So basically, imagine the world football game. Basically, it's like that, apart from these are a team of astronauts. Well, they're not even astronauts, they're basically business people who decided they wanted the fastest car. And obviously they've achieved everything that they wanted to achieve. So they've got the big house, they've got the family, they've traveled the world, they've got their own islands, they've been and done whatever they've got to go and do. And now this is the rocket to the moon sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? So, and obviously this is about colonization of Mars, and also this is about destroying a potential threat of Mars coming to us. So obviously there are people that believe that we are currently under attack from Mars. So therefore they want to protect the Earth from Mars. So you've obviously got to really look at everything that's going on in the world. So, but basically these are big boys that want to race each other and build the better machine, and they're all setting off on pretty much the same day. Well, it is the same day. Well, sort of on pathways, basically. So they get to go up at particular points. Notice they're not on quarantine. It's not classed as, sorry, it is classed as must needed much work, because obviously the mainstreams of AI is for the medical profession. That's what it's for. It's to replace doctors, it's to replace the admin system, it's to replace the bureaucrat sort of side of things, it's to replace all of the jobs that we don't really want to do, that our mums and dads wanted us to do because it was really good. So it's going to replace lawyers, it's not going to replace nurses, it's not going to replace teachers, it's not going to replace the handy building people. Actually, it is eventually, but that's more the other side of construction robotics, not the humanoid robotics. That's two very different things. I just want to sort of get on with my shop, which is sort of forming. I don't know if you can see in my hallway there, just slightly forming out there. So I'm sort of building a little bit of a secret shop here, which is really difficult with the two boys. But I'm just going to literally open up this place under a bit of a secret invite social evening, see if the police shut it down. That would be funny, wouldn't it? And basically be auctioning things off. I'm hoping Dean's going to come through with some of his art, and just see what happens, and getting really back to me, to be honest, because this whole thing, since sort of going along and dragging my ass into these events and kicking my way through doors that obviously clearly wasn't invited into, just because obviously I didn't want to be a mum who was going to end up with obviously on benefit system, on disability, and I didn't want to stay in the situation that I was in. I was getting sick and tired of government keep changing the rules, and every time they changed the rules, it kept affecting me in different ways. And it was like I had this plan, and then the system sort of comes along and goes, well, actually we decided to do this, and that's going to affect your plan and change that, and we don't really care about your personal circumstances. And this is what I find the whole irony of why people are so blind. I mean, do you really, really, really think they give a shit about the vulnerable? If they did right now, all the carers would be bringing every person with Down syndrome out right now, autism. Your streets right now would be absolutely ridden with carers making sure that every autistic family was getting out for an hour, and that government was working out exactly, like, how much time do they need, blah, 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 blah. And, I'm an ex-army wife and I'm an ex-pad brat, and I've also done my own sort of service in St. Fitz. And, when I know it's stressful, I know they say, look, when there's a crisis going on, when life flows you lemons, you should make lemonade and all of that. But the thing is, when say if right now this tower block went up on burn, yeah, and it got set alight, and my fire brigade, the 5 engines that we've got here in Portsmouth, are all out there doing the best job that they can to get this fire out. I don't expect my neighbours to be out the window going, yay, for the fire brigade, and all of the service people coming out dancing, for everybody to keep the morales out of the people that are going, burning in the building. Do you know what I mean? I find it a bit sickening, really, and I find it really hard to watch now, because it's people's real lives. Like it's people, This is eugenics, mate. This is This is big boys who really couldn't give a shit about the homeless person who opens their hands on the streets and just tells them, I was once homeless and somebody's got a story. And they don't really understand the battles that people face, and they do and they don't, but they just throw money at things and they think it just fixes things. Well, they're out of money now. They're out of money. And even they're now going, well, actually, the public should all sort of have to pay for it. So, what's going on in our world right now could just be some very grandeur plans of people that the bubble just went poof. And the only real great illusion is the one going on in your mind. And the real battle is in here, because they've got you on, well, locked down. They've got you on house arrest, basically, without the chain around your leg, which is coming. The future before me right now, I haven't put the rainbows up yet, and I really do want to take them back from Pride. And Pride is going to be the first sin to be battered when we come back out, and we are coming back out legally masked up. And I think it's really sad that this is the world that you're all asking for, and you're not willing to defend, that you're not willing to stand up for the fact that your young children, my young children, are now going to be walking the streets looking at people like this. I've got a bunch of gloves behind me. And then these masks are going to turn to, what have I got in here? I can't take you in the hallway. I'd show you the three boys with the masks on if I did. They're in the hallway. And this is the future. This is the future for our children, for our grandchildren. This is the world currently. Now, each and every one of you will live the way that you are. Some of you won't be watching politics. Some of you won't be reading the papers. Some of you will completely shut down. And I think that is pretty much the best thing that you could do right now. I think the best thing that you could all do right now, and here's the trick. If I get cut off while I say this, then you know why. Basically, get on with your lives. Take until Friday, 4:00, to literally go through your home and just literally put everything at the hallway that just does not exist in your home anymore, and literally just say, stay, go. Stay, go, stay, go, stay, go. Does it really serve you? Is it your identity, or is it just there to make it look like you've got things? And if it doesn't belong to you, when I say belong to you, as in it doesn't fit who you are, it doesn't represent you in your home, then put it at the front door. And by sort of Sunday morning, by Sunday morning, you should literally be able to either put it all at your front door for the passers-by, up on FreeCycle, up on Gumtree, make some money for yourself for the next chapter, put it on Crackbook, Marketplace, whatever. Get ready for the charities that are going to need this, the middle class that are going to be at the food banks, and it's coming. And really take the time to really be able to take Saturday to just really just rest And rather than rush around on Saturday to go out shopping, to go to the mall, whatever you call it, to rush around Tesco's, rush around Asda, to take the kids out to some thing like the cinema or bowling or any of these things that cost you money, just go out and have a real free Saturday and just take your hour, take your hour to just go out and just think about how you feel about the distance that other people are from you and the sort of space that you want to spend your time around and what environment that you really actually do want to be in. You know, from the moment you wake up and you open your eyes in the morning, is this the bed that you want to lay in? Is this the curtains hanging at your window? Is this the colour of the bedroom you want? Is this the view from your bedroom window? Is that alarm clock really the way that you want to be waking up? And are you waking up to start your day blessed in service the way that is truly in line with who you are? Or have you been getting up to an alarm bell to get up, to make sure your kids are in their uniforms, to drop them off at school, to get in a car, to go to work, to basically do a job that gives you an hourly minimum rate that pays for your time and service? So these people can go and make 30 billion, 32 billion over the time that we've been in lockdown and more plus and counting. While the little people's businesses have been crashing, so they can get you all ready to line you up for some jobs. So you're all applying for jobs very fast to go and fill their dreams again. So really take this time from now up until Friday to just sunset Friday, just go, I am shutting down, mate. I've got nothing left on my to-do list. I'm not waking up with anything where I'm thinking I've got to get this shit done. Just get it done. Just complete that list of every fucking shitty thing that you've got to get done. And if you've got to still go into next week, do it. Just keep giving yourself Friday sunset. Friday sunset, that's it. That's it. I'm resting. And once you've got yourself to a point where you go, everything in the universe is an extension of your true soul. So the home that you have chosen to plant yourself in for the time period of this pre-rented world that we live in, this show performance, this set, you know, that you can choose the set that you have just as much well as EastEnders can create the set for the performance and drama that they put on for your programming, and really truly just create from the moment you step out of your door. When you meet a police officer, if a police officer is asking you what you're doing, why you're out, blah, 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 turn it on him and say, excuse me, police officer, I've been writing this book. I've been at home. I've been in. I don't really know what's been going on. I've been writing about these fucking idiot conspiracy theorists and this bullshit that's going on. But, wow, is this really going on? Are you trying to tell me that what I've just said is a load of shit is actually true? Have I got to go home and lock myself in and be in fear and not come out of my house until all these satellites are in place and this rocket race is over and they've decided whether we're at threat from aliens or not? And is this, so you're telling me that, wow, 9/11 really was an inside job and ET really did phone home? He'll walk away and leave you alone, I promise. He'll walk away, won't want the paperwork because he'll know he'll have to get mental health in place. But anyway, Just go about your beings. Just literally, the world is very quiet at the moment. A lot of people are pushing boundaries and stuff, but I am warning you. It has gone from I have not pre-ordered any masks. I have not gone about my way to buy any masks. I have just picked up what has been available for demonstration purpose only. Oh, one of these is broken. The kids have been using it for something. We have gone from medical masks to the sale and production of lots of different cone masks, people decorating masks, to to people personalizing masks, to people even creating their own masks. And the cure for corona branch of the tree virus that has existed for a long time, decades, probably even hundreds of years. Corona is basically the tree of said viruses. So SARS, Corona 19, all of these different things, influenza, the cold, bronchitis. So it's not new. You're not being introduced to anything new. This fear has been created by the media and by MPs that are puppets. Please go back and watch. And I said this a long time ago, and I wish I had all of my original social media all the way through this, and I had done this the way that it should have been done, and I'd had the right people around me to help me get this done. But it is what it is. But, go back to the Olympics in 2012, and I said it was the end of the Industrial Revolution, and it was the rise of the new world, right? And they showed you how they were going to do it right in front of your eyes. They showed you. They showed you. So right at the beginning of the Olympics, they show you what we were. And at the end, they show you where we are going. And they show you in the middle how they were going to do it. Right in front of your eyes. Right in front of your eyes. Go back. Watch it. The hospital beds. Watch it. Watch the virus. Watch everything. Watch the dance. Just watch it. Just watch it. I was literally heading down with all of the kids, and I was with Professor Greg Wyatt and James Greenwell. Double check. You can read it in New Woman magazine. It talks about them being the people around me with my EDS to help me get my EDS back on track and mentoring me in business. It's in there. It's in New Woman magazine. I have the article. It's got his name in it. So he is an Olympic athlete, and Greg Zecker is basically the physiologist for the Olympic athletes for Great Britain. So I had open entry all the way through. I was getting worried about like bombs dropping and all sorts. And because I'm a skater and everything, I was really, really interested in the skating sort of thing that was going on the Olympics opening. It was the kitty catcher. It was the kitty catcher. It was the scene where they come in and they take the kids from the hospital beds and take all the kids. And I'm like, I'm not going there with Aaron and Faith. Like, I'm not taking Aaron and Faith into this. And this is when I started getting really scared about everything that was going on, things that I was learning about Disney, things that I was learning about vaccination, things that I was learning about how I'd been imprisoned into this disability world, and, how the medical people had treated me and how I'd been treated in foster care and why this education system was the way it was. And, it was a really, really hard time for me in 2020. And then again in probably 2000 was a really, 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 really hard time for me. It was a real awakening for me in, say, like going, whoa, hang on a minute, like, whoa, hang on, shake this shit off me. Like, this is not your life, this is mine, and you're trying to keep making me go down this river, swimming the wrong way, and making my life even harder when I just know there is a better way. I know my intuition and everything was screaming at me, going, "This isn't right," And I can remember the very, very first day when I was in the Ridgewood, And the Ridgewood, for those that don't know, is a mental health unit in Frimley. So it's in Frimley, which is basically Hampshire, and it's part of Frimley Green Hospital. And I was stood at this door, and basically you lined up at this door, and they had like the counter on the inside, and they were popping out the meds. And you basically just have to stand there with your hands down behind you. You're not allowed to touch anything, and you just stand there with your head tilted back, and you go, and they basically get them out of the little tub, and they put the pills onto your mouth, and then they make you take water, and then you to swallow it in front of them and go, ah, ah, and make sure you show them all of the inside of your mouth. This is how I actually developed bulimia, because what they then also do is they don't allow you to go to the toilet. So they don't allow you to go into any toilet, any room or anything like that. They have to make sure the medication digests. So basically in sort of midday, they give you one to try and get you up. And then at bedtime, they try to make you go sleep. It's like when you're in hospital, they wake you up to ask you if you want a sleeping tablet. Do you know what I mean? So, and obviously, if the world's just getting you down and you're really pissed off, make sure you take an antidepressant. Um, so when I was, it was like the really difficult thing about getting into coaching is what coaching does is it really makes you look at your life like the tires on a car. And like my car right now, it's got a flat tire, and there's nothing I can do. That car can't go anywhere. It doesn't matter if I get in that car and I put in, I want to go to London in a fucking sat nav, whatever. It ain't going to London. It doesn't matter what I do. It's not going to London. I could even start the engine and proceed to drive in the car, and chances are, yes, it's going to get to the end of the road. Yes, it's probably even going to probably get to the other end of the road of that. And chances are I might even get it to go around that roundabout and fly down on the way up to Asda. But the chances are I'm not going to be able to stop properly. I'm going to tear it, break it in at some point, and I'm going to flip that car over. It's a car crash waiting to happen. You know it is. Could I get to the garage safely to get it, at least pumped up to get up to the thing? Maybe, who knows? But at the end of the day, unless you deal with that flat tire, then it's just a sitting duck, and eventually it's going to rust, and eventually it's going to cost you, and it's going to have to take an investment, or you're just going to have to get rid of it. And life is no different. But what coaching really did is it got me to look at my life like a flat tire in different areas. So it was like a whole wheel of balance. And it made me look at every aspect of my life in terms of my relationships, my health, my wealth, um, you know, my own spiritual path, what I was eating, and going really deep as well into who I was when I wanted to be when I was 11, and what my dreams were. And I can remember the very first time I come out of counselling, and she was always asking me about how do you feel about that? How does that make you feel? And I remember sitting in the car, and I've talked about this on lives before, but I just remember just sitting in the car, breaking down, thinking, I don't really understand feelings. Like, we were only taught happy, sad, and to understand that there was all these other different words and all these different experiences that I was having that just had a different word to it. And it was like even Elijah cottoned on to something today because he said he was sad, and then he realised he wasn't actually sad. He was actually feeling, what was he feeling in the end? He was nervous. So he realised, oh no, this was talking about him being scared, and he realised he wasn't actually scared, he was just nervous. And to change from being scared to nervous is two very, 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 very different belief systems, two very, very different feelings in altogether. To be nervous, and to be scared is two very different expressions altogether. And to hone into just that different understanding is so powerful. It really is. Um, I'm really gonna have to get really harder with this whole anchor motor thing, aren't I? I'm getting sick and tired of having to be a nasty person and the nice person when I tell you one thing I'm looking forward to now. Now it's all out. It's all out, people. It's all out. There's nothing they can do about it. Or you're just going to have to bear with me over the next week as well while you all deal with what's coming out. But for me, obviously, I've known because at the end of the day, I've now got to prove that the reason that Aaron and Faith was taken is because they wanted me to take my life. And if Aaron and Faith were settled with another family, Liam and Daniel were doing what they were doing, and I'm just considered this grandeur crazy crackpot that's, gone, and I've gone and taken my own life, then basically none of this stuff would have ever have got out of the room. And you would all 100% now not even have all of these people out there that are fighting for you right now. And there's hundreds and hundreds of people out there fighting for your freedom right now. There's hundreds. There's hundreds of people fighting for the freedom of the kids right now. Bikers have got involved. People from different walks of life have got involved. Since 2010, the amount of people that have come out about, satanic ritual abuse in within the establishment. I'm not even going to say government, because it's not even about government, it's about the establishment. And it's about the core root of it, isn't it? It's the world is currently at the moment under war. It's been established for hundreds and hundreds of years. This world has been in sustainability, per se, what they want to call it now. And obviously, what you've got to remember, and what I've been telling you, is that within this, I will get it out from the paperwork. I'll find the thing. I'll put the chart back up again. I've put the photographs of it up, of exactly what we drew, of exactly how this was going to go on the very, very, very day that they launched the paper for the 2030 plan for sustainability, the vaccination and everything. So, when I started sort of pulling Aaron and Faith, it was different. It was cleaner when Liam and Daniel were around. I think there were still problems. But by the time Aaron and Faith were going through it, it was horrible to see the difference in my kids after their vaccinations. What mother wants to nurse their kids? Like Elijah and Shiloh are happy. They're not sick. They're not sick. We're safe. We don't need to be fear mongering into sticking an injection into my perfectly well children right now for me to have to be here with, cowpole, with them getting sick and fevers to put the very the very virus that they want us to be scared of into them in the first place. It's like, duh, are you people fucking fuckwits? Like, why would you look, why do you bring your precious children into the world to then go and take them down, to them to hold them tight while they scream and scream and scream, while you jab them in the thing, you jab them in the leg, you take them home, they're sick, they get coughs, they get colds, they're freaking sometimes not well for a few 4 or 5 days, and then this is, then they're never the same kids. They're never the same kids. They're never the same kids again. Then they're not the same kids. They're not the same kids. You can't tell me one child that is ever the same. And I don't mean the same as in, I'm not talking about them injecting them with autism. That's not what autism is about. I'm just talking about spiritually, mentally. They're just not the same. They're not the same. I'd run 100,000 miles before somebody put a vaccination into me and these boys. I think I'd shoot. I think I would. I think I would. I think I'd have to. If, like, literally, come on, guys, like, think about this logically. We've got another 16 months of this 18-month plan of this lockdown session to go, right? And these stage 1, stage 2s that's already written. It's done. It's done. I was in the meeting. It's done. I thought that I could come out with something and throw it all out to you and put this really lovely thing in to help you all set up and make the most of it and maybe we could all bypass all this shit. But, you know, I never ever thought I'd be so sabotaged. Like, why would you want to sabotage stopping people from murdering and raping children and abusing families? And, like, why would you want to stop that? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Why would you want to troll someone like me? What's wrong with you people? What's wrong with you? So all I would say is stay on lockdown, stay in, and really, really focus on yourself, on your family, on who you really are. Look forward to it. My boys need fresh air. My boys need to be out in forests in the fresh air. I gotta go, guys. I need to look after my own family now. I've done everything that I can over the next 3 or 4 days. Next 14 max. It was never a big grand conspiracy by us said conspiracy people. We came to do our best to stop you from taking the mark of the beast, basically. I've got to go, guys. Bye. God help you all.